I grew up in Orange County, California, Laguna Beach. From the outside looking in, I had the perfect life. I went to the best schools growing up. I played international soccer as a teenager. We were all sitting there watching the local news, and I looked at my mom and I looked at my dad and I pointed at the TV and I said, that's what I want to do.
Good evening, I'm Brandon Rudak.
If you are just waking up with us this morning, good morning to you.
Tonight at 9 and 10, we're going to do it all over again. We hope to see you then.
What people didn't know was that the perception from the outside looking in didn't actually tell the true story.
Now back to our top story tonight at 10.
From the ages of 7 to 10, I was repeatedly molested and raped. Not only by my next door neighbor, my youth soccer coach, and my piano teacher every Friday night. That trauma that I suffered as a child, eventually I became a cocaine addict. I became a prostitute. At 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old to understand what I was actually doing to my body. So the moment I did a drug, it just felt better than where I was at before then. And so I kept chasing that feeling good. I had so much gay shame growing up. I had so many insecurities that the reason why I covered my body in ink was to portray this image of toughness, this image of manliness, this image of, I don't want you to know that I'm gay, so I'm gonna make myself look like a character from Prison Break.
Brandon knew when he went public with his story as a gay man, abuse survivor, he knew that he was risking his career.
Welcoming journalist and best-selling author Brandon Lee to the studio.
I was actually doing a documentary on the opioid crisis in Arizona, and that story aired, and I looked at all the comments from viewers. People saying these people were trash and homeless. And I went home and I cried in my living room. So that actually is what inspired me to eventually break my anonymity and write this memoir.
He wanted to tell his story. And I know that he was hesitant about how people around him would react, because the story is explosive.
At just 15 years old, Brandon says he was addicted to sex and drugs, finally hitting rock bottom years later after 2 overdoses.
I had just gotten off the air at KTLA-5, where I was a news anchor and news reporter. I got high in the parking lot, and I collapsed in the streets of LA, and I cracked my head open. I woke up in a coma a week later. She looked at me and said, Brandon, are you thinking about taking your life? And I said, yes. I'm gonna give you $10 out of my purse. And when they release you, I want you to go to my church on Melrose and Mansfield in Hollywood, and they have an AA meeting there. And I want you to go for me.
That moment of grace got me to go to my first recovery meeting when I was released from the hospital. And that's when I got sober.
A lot of people, when they live through something, they don't really want to talk about it. They shy away from it. They depend on a PR professional to help them so that it would be palatable to the public.
Thank you for coming.
Brandon has such integrity, and his story is so powerful that he owns it and he lives it.
How's everybody doing?
I'm not hiding anything anymore. And what I thought people would judge me by, some of the darkest moments of the book that I almost deleted and removed before it published, nobody cares about those things. So the life lesson there was, what we think people will care most about, sometimes people won't even care at all. And those things that we don't share are actually holding us back from becoming our true authentic selves and being loved by people and being able to help people. I wouldn't be able to help as many people if I held back.
I began waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. A little boy was coming at me in my dreams and chucking a can of paint at my head. I woke up on my nightstand. It was 3 words: studio, gallery, school. Very top with our base white paint. You're gonna come in here?
Sharing his story with people, showing them how to create art, showing them how to be the best possible human being. It makes me so proud of him.
If it's a traumatic brain injury, whether it's a car accident, it actually shuts off part of the brain that helps release dopamine. So experiencing the simple pleasures of life is very hard for a survivor of a brain injury or trauma. It's really when I began doing true trauma healing work. In January of this year, I began shamanism. Through deep breath work, 20 minutes, I'm able to get past the frontal lobe. I'm able to get back to the lower part of my brain where all of those traumas are stored, and I'm able to go back and heal from that.
Brandon defines the word courage through his work. When people show up here at the Center for Positive Media, I witness people coming in heavy and troubled and come out like the release of the butterflies. That's what I call it. And I witness it. I see them come out. They're shining, they're smiling, they're literally flying high when they come out.
I just want to tell you guys to always follow your passion. Don't listen to what everyone else wants you to do in life. Write down a couple of things of what you want to be, because that's the most important person you'll ever need to make that promise to. It's yourself.